Hello, my name is Derek Gerard with My Rep Chat, and today I want to talk a little bit about market volatility in election years and how that actually corresponds to the way people choose to communicate. So I was in a conversation the other day with somebody, and we started talking about market volatility during election years. More importantly, the midterm election, which we're going to have here in 2022 shortly. And I started thinking and doing some research about how the markets change and how they ebb and flow and how volatile they might be during an election year, again, a midterm election year. And I started to see a bunch of different information. There was a study that was done, I think, by USA Today recently that talks about, how if one political party has control over everything, it's generally not very favorable to the market. Where if the branches of government are split, it's more neutral or a lot of times more favorable. But really, it was sort of interesting for me to recognize, and you probably recognize the same thing, that this isn't your normal midterm election year. 2022, there's nothing normal about this. There was nothing normal about 2021 or 2020 for that matter. And so it's hard to sort of put historical election years in the context of what we've dealt with the last few years. And so volatility, I think there's a lot of reasons we're experiencing volatility today. So it's hard to say an election year may have some contributing factor here. It may have a little bit, but I don't know that it has a whole lot. But the other thing that was really interesting for me to start to think about it as I was reading all this information, what I really wanted to share with this audience here is how people's communication habits change based on volatility. Now, regardless of what that volatility is, we've seen some pretty interesting things over the years here at My Rep Chat. And some of you know my background is as a financial advisor. And so it was always kind of interesting for me to understand people's behaviors given what goes on. Now, I had my own practice when the market was crazy, volatile, and so I got to experience this firsthand. But I was never able to actually text with my clients back when this was happening, which made it a little bit harder for me to stay connected with them. But let me share some things that I've noticed here and some of the stats that we've actually captured here that actually have to do with how people communicate based on market volatility. So here's what we found. When the market goes down, so for every 1 percentage point the market goes down, what we've seen is the average My Rep Chat user, the average financial professional, sends 4 times as many messages. So compared to a normal month where everything is fairly flat, when the market goes down 1 percentage point, for every 1 point, 4x the number of messages get sent out. The other thing that's interesting is 3 times the number of messages come in, which means not only is the financial professional being proactive and in staying engaged and connected to their client, the client is also more engaged. So the client is responding. The client is even initiating some interaction. There's a lot of really cool and interesting statistics there. But just knowing that when the market goes down, as you can imagine, people get nervous, they get concerned, they get worried, and they start to communicate more. Now, what happens when the market goes up? Well, as you can imagine, the exact opposite. So when the market goes up for every 1 percentage point, we've seen a reduction in messaging, both inbound and outbound, of almost exactly 2 times. So when the market goes up, they actually communicate less, which, of course, most professionals know to be true, and I know this to be true. It did happen from time to time where the markets were good. I call my clients to schedule their annual review and they say, "Now we're fine," right? Statements look good. Everything's fine. We have some other things we need to do. And it was really easy for them to want to be okay with pushing that meeting off when the market's up. So we see the same thing here. When the market's up, communication trends are down. So the overarching theme here is it's important that you have the ability to communicate with your clients the way they want to communicate with you. Don't fall into the trap of thinking your clients are too old or too young or too this or too that to think they don't want to communicate through text. They do. It's the number one activity today on a cell phone. That's text messaging is number one. And your clients absolutely will embrace the idea that they can communicate with you through a text rather than long, lengthy emails or phone calls or even face-to-face meetings when they're not needed. So thanks for watching. Hope you found this information valuable. Have a great day.